The twist didn't start at the party. It started when my wife smiled at me like she already knew how the story would end, and I didn't. That I was on the couch that night, half watching Netflix, half dozing, when the front door clicked open. Laura stepped inside, kicked off her heels, and gave me that smile. The one that isn't warm. The one that means information is coming, and it's already been decided. My phone lowered an inch. Something in my chest tightened. Before I tell you what happened next, do me a favor. If you enjoy real-life stories where truth collides with consequences, hit subscribe, tap like, and leave a comment telling me where you're listening from. Now let me take you back to the moment everything changed. She didn't sit down. She stayed standing, purse still on her shoulder, like she was delivering a weather update instead of news that would split my life in half. So, she said lightly, I have an update about the birthday party. Her birthday. The one I was hosting. The one she'd been planning like a corporate gala. I nodded slowly. Okay. I invited someone else today. She paused. Waiting. Testing me that I didn't ask who. Her smile faltered just a bit before she continued. Jason's coming. I looked up. Jason? My ex. You remember him? Of course I remembered him. 8 months of her life before me. Long enough to matter. Long enough to leave fingerprints. He's having a rough time, she added quickly. I ran into his mom at Target. We talked. She said he's been struggling. He just needs support. Support. That word landed wrong, so let me get this straight, I said calmly. You talked to his mother in a grocery store, and that somehow led to inviting your ex-boyfriend to your birthday party. The one I'm hosting. She sighed, already annoyed. Why are you making this weird? We're adults. It was years ago. Years ago, yet she still had his mother's life updates. It would have been rude not to invite him, she continued. He's practically family. Practically family. That I stood up. Slowly. And was it rude to me? Her eyes narrowed. You're being dramatic. There it was. The dismissal. The pivot. The quiet accusation that my reaction, not her choice, was the problem. I already invited him, she said. I'm not uninviting him. I need you to act normal. Be mature. Normal. Mature. I watched her closely. The crossed arms. The tight jaw. The way she avoided eye contact for half a second too long. Something inside me cooled. You're right, I said. Her head snapped up. I am? Absolutely. We should invite him. In fact, it's a great idea. She blinked. Relief washed over her face so fast it almost betrayed her. I knew you'd understand, she said. Thank you. I smiled. Not the way she expected. If he's going through something, I added, he shouldn't be alone. She nodded eagerly, and honestly, I continued, someone like that probably needs his girlfriend there too. The color drained from her face. His, what? His girlfriend, I repeated. For support. She stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. I don't think that's necessary. Why not? I asked gently, silenced. I stepped closer, still smiling. Don't worry. I'll handle it. You focus on enjoying your day. She forced a laugh. But it didn't reach her eyes. That night, as she slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling and realized something terrifyingly clear. People who tell the truth don't rehearse explanations, and people with nothing to hide don't panic when you widen the guest list. That was the moment I stopped reacting, and started paying attention. The next morning, the house felt different. Not louder. Not tense. Just off. Like a room where furniture had been shifted in the dark. Laura moved through the kitchen humming, pouring coffee, checking her phone every 30 seconds like it was keeping her alive. She didn't notice me watching. Or maybe she did and pretended not to. I kissed her cheek before leaving for work. She stiffened for half a beat, then relaxed. That half beat told me more than any confession ever could. By 10 o'clock, curiosity stopped being curiosity. It became necessity that I wasn't looking for trouble. I was looking for clarity. During lunch, I typed Jason's name into social media. It took less than 5 minutes to find him. People overshare when they think they're happy. 3 months ago, there he was at a downtown bistro, arm around a blonde woman, both smiling like life had finally lined up for them. Caption: date night with this amazing woman. 2 months ago, hiking trail, same woman, same closeness. And 2 weeks ago, jackpot. Family gathering. His arms snug around her shoulders. Caption: 1 year strong. 1 year, her name was Megan. I leaned back in my chair and let that sink in. Laura hadn't mentioned a girlfriend. Not once. She hadn't framed Jason as taken or in a relationship. She'd framed him as fragile. Lonely. In need of comfort. That's when I understood the real insult. She hadn't just invited her ex. She'd rewritten him. That evening, Laura came home glowing. Not tired. Not stressed. Glowing. She took a call in the bathroom with the fan running. When she came out, she said it was her cousin Rachel. Rachel lived in Denver. Had for years. Her phone buzzed on the counter while she chopped vegetables. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The preview was enough. Can't wait to see you this weekend. She snatched the phone up like it was hot. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, she said too fast. Just party stuff. The lies were getting sloppy. Wednesday, she disappeared for 6 hours to shop. Came home with one small bag from Victoria's Secret. Went straight upstairs. No fashion show. No chatter. Just distance. That night, while she showered, her laptop sat open on the desk. Logged in. I stared at it for a long minute before touching it. I hated what I was doing. But I hated not knowing more. The email thread wasn't even hidden. Subject line: party details. The words inside told a different story. I miss you. Tuesday felt too short. He doesn't suspect anything. Just act normal. Tuesday. The 6-hour shopping trip. I closed the laptop and sat there, breathing slowly, feeling something hollow open behind my ribs. This wasn't flirting. This wasn't nostalgia. This was deliberate. The next morning, I found Megan's work email. Marketing firm. Professional site. Clean headshot. Confident eyes. I wrote carefully. No accusations. Just facts. She called me 30 minutes later. Is this about Jason and a married woman? She asked. Her voice was calm. Controlled. But sharp. Yes, I said. I think we need to talk. We met for coffee downtown. She listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't cry. When I finished, she stared into her cup and nodded once. I knew, she said quietly. I just didn't know who. She showed me messages. Excuses. Late nights. Shifting stories. We compared timelines like detectives who didn't want to be right. Tuesday. Wednesday. Lies layered on lies. When we stood to leave, she looked at me and said something I didn't expect. I don't lose quietly. Neither did I. Back home, Laura was rearranging flowers, smiling to herself, humming. She looked so pleased. So certain. She had no idea that her party already had a guest she hadn't planned for, and for the first time since this began, I felt steady. Not angry. Focused, because once the truth steps into the room, pretending becomes impossible. From the outside, everything looked normal. That was the strangest part. Laura laughed easily, sent cheerful group texts, obsessed over linens and catering like nothing in the world could touch her. But once you start seeing cracks, you can't unsee them. Every movement becomes louder. Every pause starts to speak. By Thursday, she developed a new habit, taking calls in the bathroom with the door locked. Not long calls. Just long enough. She'd come out flushed, suddenly affectionate, overly pleasant, like kindness could erase suspicion. I played along. Not because I was fooled, but because I wanted to see how far the performance went. That afternoon, Megan texted me. I did some digging. We met again, same coffee shop, different energy. She looked sharper somehow. Focused. Like someone who'd stopped asking why and started asking how. She slid her phone across the table. Screenshots. Location data. Credit card charges that didn't line up with Jason's stories. Hotels downtown. Afternoon hours. Consistent days. I thought he was helping a friend with marriage problems, she said, almost laughing. Turns out, I was the friend. That sentence hit harder than anything else. She told me how Jason had been asking her questions. Hypothetical ones. About loyalty. About unhappy marriages. About whether people deserved second chances. He'd been using her like a mirror, checking his reflection before stepping further into the lie. And Laura? She'd been doing the same thing to me. That night, Laura stood in front of the mirror trying on dresses. Which one makes me look happier? She asked. Happier. I repeated. You know what I mean, she said, smiling that I did know what she meant. And I watched her choose the dress that hugged just enough, shimmered just enough, promised something just out of reach. Saturday morning arrived with manic energy. Laura was up before sunrise, rearranging furniture, triple-checking deliveries. She barely ate. Her phone never left her hand. At one point, I caught her smiling at the screen like she was reading something sweet. Around noon, Megan sent another message. He bought a new outfit yesterday. Men's Warehouse. Posted about big plans. I pictured Jason ironing his shirt, rehearsing lines, believing he was clever. Mid-afternoon, Laura disappeared again. Errands, she said. 2 hours. No receipts. When she came back, she hugged me. Tight. Almost grateful. Thank you for being so understanding, she whispered. Understanding. If only she knew. Guests began arriving at 6. The house filled with voices, laughter, glasses clinking. Laura transformed instantly, perfect host, radiant smile, gracious laughter. She checked the door every few minutes, pretending she wasn't. At 7:15, Jason walked in. Laura lit up. Not dramatically. Just enough. They hugged. Too long. He handed her flowers. She laughed at something he whispered. They moved through the room like magnets, pretending not to pull. I watched everything. The glances. The excuses to step away. The way their bodies leaned toward each other without realizing it. At 8, I texted Megan. He's here. Her reply came instantly. Give me time. Laura and Jason drifted toward the kitchen under the excuse of ice. I stood where I could see them. Close. Comfortable. Familiar. Her hand brushed his arm. His smile lingered. They thought they were invisible, but that's the thing about secrets. They make people careless. They believe silence protects them. The doorbell rang a few minutes later. I walked toward it calmly, my heart steady, my mind clear, because when truth finally knocks, it doesn't need to rush. I opened the door and there stood Megan. She didn't hesitate. She didn't ask permission. She stepped inside like someone who belonged there, dressed simply but sharply, eyes clear, posture calm. Not angry. Certain. That kind of certainty rattles people more than shouting ever could. "Megan," I said, loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. "I'm really glad you could make it." Behind me, conversations slowed. A few heads turned. Someone laughed nervously, assuming this was just another friend arriving late. Jason saw her first. I watched his face change in real time. The color drained. His smile collapsed. His body stiffened like it had hit an invisible wall. Laura followed his gaze, and froze. Truly froze. Her glass stopped halfway to her lips. Her mouth parted, but no sound came out. Megan smiled warmly. "Surprise," she said, her voice pleasant, almost cheerful. "Jason mentioned this party so many times, I just couldn't miss it." Silence spread outward like a ripple. Laura recovered first. She always did. Years of social polish kicked in. "Oh. You must be a friend of Jason's?" Megan tilted her head. "I'm his girlfriend." That did it. The word hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. A few guests exchanged looks. Someone cleared their throat. Laura laughed, a thin, brittle sound. "Well," she said, "that's wonderful. The more the merrier." Jason tried to intervene. "Meg, maybe we should talk somewhere quieter." "Why?" Megan asked lightly. "These are your friends, right? Or, mutual friends?" She slipped her arm through his. Possessive, deliberate. Jason didn't pull away. "He couldn't." "You didn't tell me how close you and Laura were," Megan continued, scanning the room. "He talks about you a lot." Laura's smile strained. "We go way back." "Oh, I know," Megan said. "Especially lately." The air changed. People were listening now. Not pretending otherwise. "Jason's been so concerned about Laura's marriage," Megan went on. "Always asking my advice. Late night calls. Long lunches. He really wanted to help." Laura swallowed. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." "Has there?" Megan asked softly. "Because Tuesday, he told me he was working late. But he was downtown. With you." She pulled out her phone. Not dramatically. Just efficiently. Turned the screen outward. A photo. Jason and Laura in a restaurant booth. Close. Intimate. Unmistakable. Gasps rippled through the room. Laura stepped back. "This is inappropriate. You need to leave." Megan didn't raise her voice. "Inappropriate was lying to two people who trusted you. This is just the truth." Jason finally spoke. "Please. Let me explain." "Explain what?" Megan asked, eyes never leaving his face. "How you used me to justify cheating. How you asked me whether unhappy marriages deserve second chances while you were creating one." The room was dead quiet now. Laura looked around, desperate for allies. Everyone, This woman is confused. Megan laughed once. Short. Sharp. Confused? No. Prepared. She scrolled again. Hotel receipts. Dates. Times. Patterns. Each one landed like a hammer. Jason backed away. Laura's hands trembled that I stepped forward then. Not angry. Calm. Clear. Since we're being honest tonight, I said, reaching for the envelope I'd set aside earlier, I should share something too. Every eye turned to me that I pulled out the papers and held them up. These are divorce papers. Laura stared at them like they were written in another language. This marriage is over, I said. Not because of tonight. Tonight just removed the costumes. No one spoke. No one moved. The party hadn't ended. It had transformed, and everyone in that room knew they were witnessing something that couldn't be undone. For a few seconds after I held up the papers, no one breathed. The house that had been loud and celebratory only moments earlier felt hollow, like all the sound had been sucked out through a crack in the floor. Laura stared at the documents, her face pale, frosting perfect image finally cracking in front of everyone who mattered to her. You can't be serious, she whispered. I am, I said evenly. And this seemed like the most honest moment to say it. Jason tried to speak, failed, then tried again. This isn't how it looks. Megan turned to him slowly. Then you should be relieved, she said. Because everyone can see exactly how it looks. Laura's voice rose, sharp and desperate. This is my house. I want you to leave. Both of you. Megan smiled, calm as ever. You don't get to control the room anymore. She stepped closer to Laura, not threatening, just unmovable. Months of lying. Smiling in people's faces. Using birthdays and sympathy as cover. You really thought none of it would surface? Laura lunged forward, trying to grab the phone from Megan's hand. It was clumsy. Panicked. Megan reacted faster. One swift motion, and Laura's momentum carried her straight into the towering birthday cake behind her. The room exploded in sound, frosting flew. Gasps. Shouts. Phones came up instantly. Laura surfaced, coughing, hair and makeup ruined, icing dripping from her face and dress. She looked less like a hostess now and more like someone caught mid-truth. Happy birthday, Megan said coolly. Now you're wearing it. Jason rushed forward. Megan, stop, she spun on him. We're done. Tonight. Permanently. Don't call me. Don't explain. Don't pretend you were confused. Pack your things and disappear from my life. He stood there, empty, exposed, suddenly very small that I stepped forward one last time. Everyone, I said, addressing the room, I'm sorry you were pulled into this. But I won't apologize for telling the truth. Thank you for coming. The party's over. No one argued. Megan touched my arm. Ready? I nodded. We walked out together, past the stunned faces, past the wreckage of a celebration built on lies. Behind us, voices rose, confusion, accusations, disbelief. I didn't turn back. Outside, the night air felt clean. Honest. 3 months later, the fallout was exactly what truth always brings. Laura tried to rewrite the story, but too many people had seen too much. Jason lost friends, credibility, and every excuse he thought would save him. Lies don't survive daylight. Megan and I didn't rush anything. We talked. A lot. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into trust. What started as an alliance became something real, built slowly, without manipulation, without masks. Sometimes life doesn't fall apart to punish you, sometimes it falls apart to free you. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe, tap like, and leave a comment. I read them all. And if you believe that truth always finds a way out, you're exactly my kind of audience.